Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Students, we are going to begin our last part, which is in our book. Now we have, alhamdulillah, completed our units. We have completed the expansion part. Now we do have 6 pages. We finished the first 4, and we are coming to the end of our semester, and the end, which is, of course, the last 2 pages in the expansion. So let's just see what we have here on pages 66 and 67. We are completing the idea of expansion of the units. So we're going to see here what do we have new. Now we are going to move on with something new here. We have the objectives. First of all, number 1, to differentiate between meanings of idioms. Now, if you recall the last expansion or the last discussion that we had, the reading, which was about aliens and the civilization that may be in outer space, we did mention an idiom, which is, we have here a needle in the haystack, that we are searching for something like searching for a needle in a haystack. So does this mean that you are going to really search for a needle? Of course not. It can be a symbol or resemblance for anything else. Now we're going to learn more about the idea of idioms. We have number 2, revise vocabulary learned throughout the units. We have also number 3, apply different writing techniques. And we have number 4, track learning progress. So we did revise basically some grammar points, and then we also applied reading strategies. So this time we are going to see what we have new. Now we're going to move on. Number 3 in the book is language plus. Now, language plus here is a rather interesting topic. We are going to read or explore something that concerns language. Now, as I mentioned in the objectives, that we are going to learn more about idioms. Now, in language, we use different expressions, phrases, as we have learned throughout the units in the real talk part, which was included in the conversation lessons. Now we have here the word idioms. We are going to just focus on this one. Now, can you give me a meaning? What does this word mean? We have the word idiom, we can say. Like, for example, a piece of cake. Now, when you describe something that it is very easy, you can say it's like a piece of cake. We have also another example here. Caught red-handed. Now, do you think that this means actually that a person's hands are red? Also, we have another one. Walk on eggshells. Now, have you ever seen someone, or have you ever heard that someone actually walked on eggshells, or does it mean something else? We have also another one. We can say that, let the cat out of the bag. So also you can explore and find out what do these idioms actually mean. Now we do have a group of idioms in our book, page number 66. So open your books on the language plus here. We can just read together and discover what we have. Now, first of all, when you read the expression or the idiom, be in another world, or if you listen to someone say that, we have someone is in another world, or as if he or she is in another world. What does it mean? So just guess for it. Now we have here the meaning, a person who is not paying attention to what is going on around him or her, or a person who is daydreaming or involved with his or her own thoughts. So did you guess any one of these meanings? If you have, it is correct. But now you know that there are 2 meanings. Also, another idiom here, we can say that to carry the weight of the world on one's shoulders. Now here we can see that there's a picture. Do you think that actually this might happen, that someone carries the weight of the world? Or it gives another meaning? So what do you have in mind? What do you understand from the expression? Now we can see together that this means when someone has a lot of troubles or problems to worry about. Now the world is heavy here, or just as a figure of speech, that it is something heavy that you are carrying on your shoulders, symbolizing the idea of some worries or problems. On top of the world. Now, from the picture here, you can see that there is a person. This person looks like he is celebrating. He has a trophy or a prize. Now, on the top of the world here, from the picture here, you can see that he's standing on top of the world. But actually, this means when someone is happy and proud after winning or succeeding at something important. Moving on, we have also the expression be worlds apart. Now you can see that here we have two worlds. We have two men here, or young men. Now they are not talking to each other. We can have also an idea. Now actually we can give two meanings for this one. We have here be worlds apart. Now these two young men, we can say that when people are not in agreement or are thinking or doing very different things. So if there is a kind of misunderstanding, as we can say, or disputes, if you remember or recall what we took in Unit 2, when we talked about vocabulary and how some people, they avoid having disputes with other people. Now, if this happens, this means that these people are worlds apart, or we can say that they are just different or doing different things. The world is one's oyster. Now here you can say that there is an oyster here and there is a pearl. So what is the resemblance? We have here, yes. Now just imagine that the world is an oyster, or in the middle of an oyster here. Now what does this mean? We have here the meaning that the whole world and all of its opportunities are in your hands. Where in the world? Now this time we have a question. When I say where in the world, does this mean that I'm going to search the whole world for something? Now note here that you can say where in the world or who in the world. So it depends on what you are asking about. And here, this is asked when you are looking everywhere for something and have no idea where it could be. Now we have reached the last idiom here. The question, what do all these idioms have in common? So if you notice that all of these idioms share the same idea that there is the world, we have here the meaning that contains here the whole world here, but of course there are different meanings and there are different ways to use these idioms. Now we are going to apply. We have here an exercise to complete each sentence with an idiom shown. Be sure to put each idiom in the correct tense. Now we do have the idioms here. I have prepared them for you. So we're going to just put them in the blanks here. I just can't find my glasses. Could they be? Note that we have here a question. So what can we use here? We can say, where in the world could they be? We have number 2, Badr, blank. He's so happy that he won the math competition. So note here that we have someone who's very happy. Which one of these idioms can be used for happiness or to express happiness? We can say that Badr is on the top of the world. Now note that also I'm using the correct verbs. We have here is, verb to be is added to the idiom or the phrase. We have number 4. Dan and Warren have such different views that the keyword is going to be different. So we have here that they are worlds apart. Number 4, Jim has so many responsibilities that he feels like so many responsibilities. Your keyword is responsibilities. Now someone may feel that they are pressured or that these responsibilities are heavy. So which means that we have here, feels that he is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Be careful to use the correct pronouns. We have number 5, Frank is lost in his thoughts again. It's like he. Now the key word here is lost in his thoughts. So you can say that it's like that he is in another world. We have here Ali graduated at the top of his class, so he has a bright future and many opportunities. Your keyword is going to be a future, bright. So we have here the world is his oyster. So we have completed our exercise. We are going to move on to part number 4, which is writing. Now we did practice a lot of writing skills. We are going to just see what we can add to our information here. Now, tools for writing. We have here commonly confused words. So before we start with the writing task, we are going to just review some commonly confused words. What does this mean? Now we say that some words confuse you. Now, for example, we have here advice and advise. They are very close. Also, loose and lose. We have here there, and there. Now we can see that they are very similar in pronunciation. We have here principle and principle also. So what is the difference? You can see there is a slight spelling difference that gives a complete different meaning. And we have here whose and whose. Now these are just examples for some words that might confuse you. We're going to go back to the book we have here on page number 66, and we're going to see what we have more. Now, we do have 2 words. We have here fewer and less. Fewer and less have the same meaning. They are both the opposite of more. So what do you know about it? When I say that my brother has fewer pens than me, or he has less milk than me. So here, milk and pens, what is the difference between them? We can see that we have here, however, fewer is used for count nouns and less is used with non-count nouns. Now, for example, fewer people are buying newspapers than ever before. We have here people are countable, so we have here fewer. And since the new police chief took over, there has been less crime in our city. Also, we can add that we have here 2 words. We have here the word further and farther. Now, farther is used to talk about distance. Further, however, is used to mean additional. Now, most Arabian bred horses can run faster and farther than English bred horses. I'm going to call the school to get further information about the program. Now complete each sentence with the correct commonly confused word. Now we do have just 3 points here that we are going to answer together, based of course on the words that we discussed. The invention of the microwave made it possible to cook meals in blank time. So what can you say? Now we are going to use a microwave to just reduce the time that we have here, or we can say in less time. I make blank grammatical mistakes than I used to. Mistakes, they are countable. So here I can say that I make fewer grammatical mistakes. And we have the 3rd sentence, I don't want to discuss this any. So we mentioned farther or further. Which one is about additional time or even or distance? So we can say that we have here the word any further. Now going back to the idea of writing. We have here writing on page number 67. We are going to see what we have here. Now we have here writing prompt. We did write different essays throughout the units, but we are going to see what we have next. Now write an expository essay. Do you remember the word expository? Expository essay about a common device or technology. Write about the history of the technology and make predictions about how you think the technology will change in the future. So you are going to choose, first of all, a common type of technology here or a device, and you are going to write about it. So just to make sure that you are on track, we have here an expository essay is an essay in which the writer explains, describes, or gives information about a subject. Now, when we talked about movies and genres in Unit 4, we did mention that we are going to write an expository essay. Now remember that I told you that you are not writing about the movie story, but about the movie as a formula. So this is what you are going to write about also. You are going to just expose the idea and the topic. Now write an expository essay as we said here, but we are going to add something just a small thing here. In the book, they mentioned that it is necessary that you include grammar points from units 1 to 4. So this is going to be the challenge for you. You are going to write, yes, a new essay, but the most important thing is to include all the grammar points. And we have applied new vocabulary and grammar points many times when we did the applications in our lessons. So you're going to do the same thing here, and you're going to include the grammar points. Now, what did we study in grammar? You can see that we, for example, studied other, others, and another. We also studied the emphatic do, used to, and be used to in sentences. We had studied also would for repeated action in the past, and was going to for future in the past. Also, we studied in Unit 3 the future perfect and the future perfect progressive and the future with dependent clauses. And also in Unit 4, if you recall, that we studied about conjunctions. We have here paired, and we have also just separate conjunctions that we can use to connect between two sentences and two ideas. Now we have here the different parts. You can just recall them again. And put in mind that you do use these, or you can use these structures within this essay at the same time. Now, if you can recall that an expository essay, as we explained in Unit 4, is something that is explanatory, descriptive, and describing at the same time. Now, there are some instructions that are mentioned in the book. First of all, write your essay. First of all, decide on the type of device or technology you will write about. This is something that we mentioned. We're going to add number 2. Use a chart to organize your ideas. Now, as the chart that you can see in front of you, there is a chart. You can just use it to organize your ideas here. Write your topic at the top, and then write ideas about the past, present, and future of the device or technology. So you can see that the table here is divided into 3 parts. You're going to choose your device or technology, and then you are going to write about the same device in the 3 tenses. Adding to that, write a draft to your essay. So as we did always, you're going to first write a draft. You are going to just put in all your ideas, and then you're going to start writing your basic or formal essay. Now, have a partner read and comment on your draft. Use your partner's comments and suggestions to revise your essay. Now you can see that we applied the same ideas that we had throughout our units. You are going to just go back again and choose the new topic. Now, I'm sure that this time you will do it with much more experience. Now, we have here developing your writing. In the book, they mentioned different techniques that you can use. Now, actually, these techniques are easy to apply. We have here pre-writing is an important first step in the writing process. Pre-writing helps you explore and gather your ideas before you begin organizing and writing your essay. So how is that? Now, there are actually 3 ways or techniques. Some of the most common types of pre-writing techniques are, we can see first of all, free writing. Now, if you recall, we have your free writing involves taking the time, usually about 5 minutes, to write down all of the ideas you have about your topic. Now, here you can just write different words. Now, these words, they are actually your ideas that you have in mind, and then you are going to put these words in sentences. Now, we're going to complete. We have here that ideas that you have about in your topic before you begin researching or organizing the topic. When you free write, do not worry about using correct spelling, grammar, or punctuation, or even writing incomplete sentences. So as we mentioned, that you are just going to put down your thoughts as we did in our essay also. Now, if you recall that I did the same thing in Unit 3, we just wrote down the words or the ideas that we had, and then we put them in complete sentences. Okay, so we have here, as you can see, that these are different words that later on were used. Now, the second technique here is brainstorming. Like free writing, the purpose of brainstorming is to capture all of the ideas you have on a topic before you begin writing about it. However, when you brainstorm, you only write words or phrases related to your topic. So brainstorming is an actual familiar technique that we use all the time. Coming to the third technique that we have here to ask questions. Of course, we have here questioning. The questions, of course, are information questions: who, when, what, where, and why, about any type of topic. Now list as many questions as you can about the topic. This will help you start thinking about questions to research and answer in your essay. Now they did write for you an example here. So just to get an idea about what do they mean when they say choose a device or technology here. Here's a short paragraph in the book, so let's just read it together. The past, present, and future of the telephone. Telephones are something we all take for granted. We are so used to having them that it is hard to imagine that they were only invented a little over 100 years ago. Just think, at the beginning of the 20th century, there were fewer than 4 million phones in the world. And if you wanted to speak with another person over the phone, you would need an operator to make the connection between you and the other person. Telephone technology has changed a lot over the last 100 years. And I believe in just another 10 or 20 years, it will have changed radically from what it is today. Now, the interesting part in this paragraph is to notice the familiar structures that we have studied throughout the units. Now, I can just point out, for example, that we are so used to having them. And also, you can see at the very end that we have here in just another 10 or 20 years. So these are just two parts. You can just search for more parts here or more structures, and you got the idea now how you can apply the grammatical structures in your paragraph. At the very end, we have here our outline. We have here the difference between idiomatic meanings. As you have noticed that we have different idioms that have the same word in them. The difference between easily confused words, as we discussed, and at the very end, we have here writing strategies. They are familiar and interesting at the same time and very easy to apply. So this is going to be your lesson for the day. We have completed our expansion, and we do have enrichments and reviews that we're going to start soon, inshallah.